Hey everyone, welcome back to Med School Mondays. If you are new here, my name is Ciara, and every Monday I upload a video regarding the med school application process. Please hit that subscribe button so you're staying tuned for weekly uploads. Now let's get started. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to pay for med school applications and how to save money during the process. I know I promised to make a video about interviews, but I decided it will be more fitting to talk about how to save money because right now is application season and interviews don't start until later on. So instead, I'm going to be talking about how to save money and hopefully give you guys some tips so that you guys don't go broke during this process. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about 4 ways to pay for med school applications. Med school applications cost anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 depending on where you live, how many schools you apply to, and how many interviews you have to travel for. It's very expensive. So it's not just a couple hundred you have to throw around, it's thousands you have to have. So these are 4 ways to pay for med school applications. Number 1, the first way, if you are watching this and you are not applying to this cycle, if you are applying in a year, 2 years, 4 years, or just any amount of years that's not this year, then start saving. Open up a separate bank account just for med school applications and save your money, put your money into that account so that when this time rolls around for you, then you are ready to go and you won't have to stress about finding money. Now, if this doesn't apply to you because you're applying right now, then number 2, the second thing you can do is go on the AAMC website or go on the website for DO schools, and there's something called the Fee Assistance Program. Basically, if you qualify for it, they pay for like up to 15 primary applications, I believe, and they also pay for your MCAT, your practice material, and most of the times if you qualify for it, then secondary applications will also waive that fee for you as well. So you can save tons of money if you qualify it, so I would just try to fill out the application to see if you do. It's based on your parents' income and how many people are in their household, and that's how they determine it. So for me, unfortunately, I was relying on this because I'm like, I know I'm gonna qualify for it, I'm gonna be set. And then my mom's income ended up being like $20 over the limit it could have been. So I did not qualify for it, but it doesn't hurt to try. So go try to see if you can. It can definitely be a big help. If you don't qualify for it, number 3, this is the 3rd thing you can do to help pay for applications, and that is ask your family and friends for donations. For me, right before I started all the applications, I just sent out a text to my aunts and my cousins, my grandparents, and just texted them asking like, hey, I'm starting the med school application process and it's very expensive. I'm going to become a doctor, but I was just asking if you can help contribute to pay for these applications because they're very expensive. Most of the time, your family members are super excited that you're going to become a doctor, so they'll be like, sure, I'll contribute. And I got anywhere from like $10, $20 to a couple hundred. So that was something that definitely helped me out. It didn't pay for all of it, but you want to take all that you can get, and you might even have a parent that's willing to pay for a lot of it. Then number 4, use a credit card. This is something that I had to do because, like I said, I had no money saved. I didn't know how expensive it was. I didn't qualify for the program, and I did receive some donations from family members, but it wasn't enough to pay for everything. So I just used my credit card, and it's thousands of dollars you're paying at once, especially for the primary application. So if you just have a credit card, you can just put it all on your credit card and then pay it back later. So that's pretty much what I did. I used my credit card, and once it was around June, I got a job. So I didn't have thousands of dollars each paycheck, but I was getting some money in that I could use. So basically throughout the whole summer, I just used my credit card to pay for all the primary and secondary expenses and my interview expenses. And then from the checks I would be getting, I would just slowly pay it back. And my mom would be giving money too whenever she could to help pay it back, and my grandmother as well. So all 3 of us together basically helped to pay my credit card off, but having a credit card was just very beneficial because I could just pay for everything at once and didn't have to wait like, oh, I have to wait 2 weeks till I get my check to pay for this secondary. Like, no, I just was able to pay for everything instantly through that. Now that we went over the 4 ways that you can pay for your applications, I'm going to talk about each section of the med school application process and how to save money through each of these. So starting off with the first thing, your MCAT. So for me, I touched on this on my MCAT video. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and check that out first. It will be linked down below. But basically, there's no way to get out of paying for the MCAT. I think it's $320. For me, I think my dad ended up paying that for me, but there's no way to get a discount on that unless you qualify for the assistance program. For the actual practice material, I think it's also the same thing. Like, you can't get out of paying for that practice material unless you qualify for it. So I pay for that. But for the MCAT books, that is what you can save money on. I rented my books, so if you buy the last year's edition, that will save you a lot of money. And then if you buy used or rent it, that also saves you, that can save you hundreds of dollars. So unless you really just want to buy new books, brand new, and just have them forever, then do that. But you know, if you want to save money, just rent them or buy them used, so that will let you save hundreds. Now for primary applications, it's the same thing. It's no really way to get discounts on those. So I applied to about 20 schools, and the cost of primary applications for DO was $510 and for MD was $690. So it was well over $1,000. So like I said, I used my credit card, and there's really no way around primary applications. For secondary applications, a lot of people don't know this, but you can get a fee waiver for a lot of schools, even if you don't qualify for the fee assistance program. So basically what I did was I wrote an email to each school explaining to them that I was in financial need and paying for all these secondary applications would be very hard for me. So if they were able to grant me an application fee waiver, then I would be very grateful, something along those lines. And I actually have a template that I have for you guys to use, so you guys can send out the same email asking for fee waivers. It's in a Google document that you can copy and paste, and I will link it down below so you guys can also ask for fee waivers. All you have to do is really ask. Don't be scared, and also don't listen to what they say on their website. A lot of them say like, we don't give fee waivers or something along those lines, but all you have to do is ask. And a lot of people don't ask, and a lot of people don't know to ask. So it's not like they're giving everyone free applications each year, but the few people who do ask, they're willing to give you that. So I send this email out, and sometimes people respond and say, oh, sorry, we only give it to you if you qualify for the fee assistance program, or some of them just say, no, sorry, we don't give out fee waivers. Okay, cool. Some of them said yes, but first we need to see proof of financial need. So a lot of them, I was able to just send my financial aid award letter from my undergrad, because I did receive financial aid all 4 years during my undergrad years. So I would just send them my financial aid from undergrad, and it would show that I received financial aid, and that would be enough for them to grant it. And then some of them didn't need anything at all. They would just be like, yep, and they would either go in my account themselves and waive it, or they would give me a code I could use to waive it. Out of the 20-ish schools I applied to, I would say about 10 I got fee waivers for, and the other 10 I had to pay for. So that significantly cut the cost out of secondary applications. So definitely try to email them if you can. You never know. Try to email them, and that way you can save a lot of money on secondary applications. So for interviews, you also want to try to save as much money as you can, because traveling to all these different states can definitely add up. So for me, for accommodations, my number one tip is ask to stay with a family or friend. If you know anyone who lives in that area, do not be scared to ask. Like I said, a lot of people love that you're going to become a doctor, and they'll be really willing to let you stay with them. So I was lucky enough that for 5 out of my 7 interviews, I had someone who lived in that city that I could have stayed with for free. So I didn't pay for any of those interviews. Now, the second option is if you don't have anyone who lives in that city, there's a lot of universities offer student housing options for free. So they'll say like, you can stay with a med school student for free when you come for an interview. So for out of the 2 schools that I didn't have someone to stay with, I was able to stay with a student for free for one of them. So just check their website, or just shoot them a quick email asking them if they offer that. And if they do, that'll be great, because you won't have to pay for any accommodations. Now, the third option, if you don't have anyone who lives there and if you can't do the student program, then I would definitely check Airbnb first. For the last interview that I didn't do the student housing and didn't have someone to stay with, I just found an Airbnb, and it was less than $50. I'm pretty sure it was like $30 for one night. So I would definitely choose that first before a hotel. Try to only stay for one night. Come the day before your interview. You don't want to come the same day of your interview, because usually they're really early in the morning. So I would suggest coming the day before, spending the night, and then try to leave the same day. So if you have a car, then you can just leave and drive right after your interview. And if you took a flight there, then try to get a flight that same day of the interview. Obviously, it would have to be late at night, like around 8, because most interviews wrap up sometime in the afternoon, so you don't want to miss the flight. But definitely try to do that if you can, so you only have to pay for one night. Now for transportation, I also was lucky enough that most of my interviews are on the East Coast and I live in the East Coast. So I was able to drive to 6 out of my 7 interviews. And the one interview that I had to take a flight for, I ended up just using a budget airline like Frontier or Spirit, because honestly, like if you're trying to save money, you just have to do it. The only con with using budget airlines is most times they don't include a bag, but usually you have to pay like $100 if you want a bag, and I just wasn't gonna spend that. So I ended up folding my suit pants up super nicely so that they could fit in the bag. And then I ended up just wearing my actual suit jacket on the plane because out of fear it would wrinkle, and I didn't know if I would have access to like an iron or anything. So I just wore it, and then on the way back, I ended up just throwing both my suit jacket and my pants into my bag because I knew I was gonna wash it anyways before the next one. But yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I think my flight was only about $90, so that was a pretty good deal round trip. So definitely just go on Google Flights and search there for your flights, because it'll show you all the different airlines and different flight prices. So check that out first, because you want to spend as little money as possible. And then just considering not paying extra for a bag. It's only one day, so you don't need that much stuff really. So that's why I just didn't bring that much stuff, just a really small personal size carry-on, and just had to wear my suit jacket so it could fit. How much did I pay for the entire med school application process? Altogether, I spent $3,300. $3,300 for this application process. Just know that I only applied to like about 20 schools, and like I said, I only had to take one flight and only do one Airbnb. So for people who apply to more than 20 schools, and if you're taking way more flights and more hotels and Airbnbs than I am, then it's gonna be more than that. So $3,300 is probably on the lower side. So I spent over $3,000 for this application process, which is crazy to hear because I didn't even know I spent that much. So just know it's a lot of money. It's a long process, but hopefully these tips will help you just save a little bit if you can. I'll leave the link to the email for the secondary fee waiver down below. Be sure to check out my other videos about the MCAT, the primary application, the secondary application, and leave down comments below of what you want to see from me next. I definitely have some more exciting videos coming for you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. Good luck on all your applications. I know you all are all going to get in, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys all next Monday. Bye.